Can you put it in your basket? Put it in your basket. Let's find another one. Are there any more, Bubba? Should we have a look over here?
Have a look. You can put it in the basket. No, put it in the basket. That's the whole point of the basket.
Can you see any more, Bubba? Can you see any more bugs?
Around here. Amelia, look down. Down. Amelia, maybe here? Amelia.
Welcome to another episode of Toby Stupid Vlog.
Yeah, one more.
Put them in the basket.
Put them in your basket.
That's what the basket's there for. Put them in.
I'm not really into the basket. I'm just more into the chocolate.
Oh, that's all right. I'll have it back then.
Amelia,
Should we see some more?
are there any more?
Why is that? Too much weight. Number 3.
There's another 3. Is there any around where Mummy is? Is there any there?
Amelia, hello? Hello?
Are there any here? You're not very good at looking, are you?
Amelia, like here? Here? Can you see? More?
Good evening. That what you just saw was a belated Easter egg hunt with Amelia in around the garden, although with chocolate bugs. She's very good at bringing things to you if you tell her what to get, but she's very, very poor at actually finding things in terms of actually searching. She's useless. But anyway, that was fun, and it's only the second time Amelia's got to play in my parents' garden because, you know, there was a mild pandemic you might have heard about. So it's a really nice day. This is what I remember from lockdown 1. Beautiful sunshine, peace and tranquility, and walks around cemeteries, which seems strangely morbid, but is so peaceful and so beautiful. Blossom on the trees, t-shirt weather, very, very happy. This morning I've been to the Apple store and fixed Face ID on my phone. Hooray! Tiny personal victory. I've also continued the process of trying to appoint a new chair for our HP, which is interesting but time consuming. And I have started work on my drone course to allow me to fly drones closer to people and buildings for the purposes of work, and had a look at the information about being able to claim the fourth I think it is, self-employment support scheme grant. I claimed 1 and 2, but I couldn't claim 3. But I think I can claim 4, so there we go. Fascinating insight for you. I'm going to sit here and bask for a moment. I've discovered that the 2 most extreme seasons affect me differently. During the winter, when it's really cold and dark and miserable, I think, oh God, I'd much rather, you know, go somewhere else on holiday. I'd much rather be somewhere else. And then when you get round to sort of late spring towards summer and the weather's beautiful and the flowers are out and the sun is shining and you can hear the bees buzzing in the trees, I think, wow, what amazing weather. How fantastic it is when it's this nice. I really want to go on holiday. So could you see the dilemma here? Broadly speaking, regardless of the situation, my instinct is that I want to be somewhere else. And that's not to say that I'm not grateful from where I live, because I think, you know, Kew in Richmond has been a fantastic place to live, and it's going to be hard to beat in some ways, but I like to see more than my neighbourhood. I like to see more than what's on my my doorstep, even when it is, you know, blossom. I need to see more of the world. I need to see the differences and the changes and the idiosyncrasies of different places and people. I can't sort of just be happy in my own backyard, and that's been especially difficult the last year, where my own backyard is the only place we've been allowed to go, and I really want to leave the country at this point, just for a holiday. I'm not going forever, not at the moment. I don't think I can convince the rest of my family that that's a good idea, but I just need to see something else. I need to be in an environment where the sort of the regular humdrum, the chores and the routine are not there. You know, you don't have the stresses of work because you're not around it, and everything is punctuated by the fact that you get to eat differently every night and you get to see different things every day, different from what you would at home, that is. And I think 2019 broke me in a way, because I got to travel so much and I got to see so many things with work, and it was such a pleasure and a privilege to do that, that when 2020 hit, it was so different from the previous year that it was a real shock to the system. And that is a real first world problem, and I'm perfectly aware of that. But the frustration is that it's not within my gift to solve it currently, because, you know, even when UK restrictions end entirely, which looks at the moment like it's still going to be towards the end of June, a lot of other countries still have restrictions and requirements on entry that make it quite difficult to go. I will have had a jab by then, but not a second one. You need to take PCR tests and sign forms, and in some cases quarantine, and, you know, that means you could technically go, but the amount of time you'd need to take off to make it worthwhile, allowing for the quarantine, or the amount of cost that you've got to add, allowing for additional tests, one on departure, one on arrival, and one on the next departure, one on the next arrival, is to sort of somewhat dampen the experience. And I just want to this is the problem. If you're born into the EU, you have this innate freedom of travel, of work and what have you, that a lot of countries don't experience. It makes you think that you can go anywhere and do anything, and a combination of the UK leaving the EU so terribly and the pandemic has meant that the reality now compared with 18 months ago is so different that it's really alarming, if I'm honest. When people say spring to me, what the image that springs to mind is Kew. I always think of Kew. That's my picture of what spring looks like, because mostly I think I used to come here a lot around my birthday when I was little, around the Easter holidays, and obviously it's much more impressive than your garden. So this is kind of what I would think of when I'd think of spring, and it's where I come every spring. Next spring will be interesting. And I say that only because our plan at the moment is that this summer, as in time that's coming towards us very fast, we will be moving out of Kew and somewhere into Surrey. That's the plan as it stands. It's not fixed. And whilst I'm very much looking forward to living somewhere slightly more rural, the thought of not having Kew on my doorstep, which I've had for, well, since I moved here in December 2009, so coming up to 12 years, is a bit alarming, if I'm honest. But the pandemic has made this a little easier, in so much as it's no longer a case of me just walking out my door and walking into Kew anymore, because even as a member you can't do that. You have to book a time slot, there has to be tickets, then you have to queue to get in, because invariably it's taking a bit longer people to get through the gate, so it doesn't feel quite like my back garden the way it used to, and that's a shame, but it's well beyond my control, and that means that sort of not having it here will be not such a hardship as it is, as it would have been if we'd moved in 2019, say. But that's not to say that I won't be coming back here with some regularity. I mean, I've been coming back here with some regularity since I was sort of, 4 months old, so don't imagine that will change, but probably not quite the same regularity. It does feel more like a garden than the countryside, and I love it, clearly, but I've become more into the idea of actual wilds and nature in its truest form rather than cultivated as it is here. This is a museum. That's how you have to think of Kew. Kew is a museum. It's not a park, it's a living museum. And because of that, things don't look quite like they would in the wild, because trees that wouldn't occur next to each other do, and there's all sorts of non-native flora, and it's beautiful. It's presented stunningly, but it isn't the same as you would find it if you stumbled across it in its natural habitat. And I've come to appreciate the truest form of nature a bit more during this pandemic. Plus, when I go for a walk in Surrey, even on a beautiful sunny day, I don't see anywhere near the number of people I see in Kew Gardens. So the remoteness is kind of attractive to me. All that said, I'm a child of suburbia. I was born in suburbia, and I've lived in suburbia my whole life, with a short period in a city centre, which is very different. And there's certain things about the sounds and the smells of the suburbs, the leafy suburbs I should add, that are sort of subconsciously programmed into me, and I very much enjoy. And Kew has that about it. And when you smell fresh cut grass on a spring morning, we see the new green shoots in their sort of brightest, almost tennis ball yellow colour come out on the trees. That's how I think of a sort of English garden. Good morning, it's Friday and it's a beautiful day, completely unplanned. Crystal's got the day off because she's spending this morning with a mum friend / baby in the gardens, and this afternoon we are going to open a storage unit in Guildford so we can start getting ready to plan our move. A move that, is still a little way off because we haven't put the house on the market, although we have started looking, and we have started looking at mortgages. So we're doing the groundwork, and then we have to do the actual real work, which will be, it's not that work is more difficult. Part of the reason that I think we're putting it off a bit is it's just daunting in terms of the scale of the change, and this today might make it a bit more real, hopefully. This is Hatchlands in the bluebell woods. It's really very nice. What do you think? Yeah, I agree. This is a very nice way of spending a Friday. So this is Hatchlands Park, National Trust. Just a few miles east of Guildford. If you're interested, it has a very good cafe and very, very large estate which you can walk all the way around. Usually, although a bit of it's closed at the moment for grazing because there's some sheep and some cows over in the field over there. But you can walk around the estate beyond the ridgeline there, and you go all the way through into the woods, down the hill, all the way along and back. It's easily done unless you've got really small legs like this. I realised, because I'm, you know, dozens of weeks behind, what have you, that I haven't been doing sign-offs on Friday, so this is me signing off, having just been to M&S for the second time in the day to buy some chicken. I'd forgotten it was a Friday, to be honest. Thank you very much for watching. Hope I'll see you next week. Hope I'll actually upload this at some point, you know, before summer. I haven't done the word of the week, so I'm going to preempt my work and give you one. This week's word of the week will be woodland. Woodland. Thanks for watching. See you later.